777 Morningstar from Incorporated Kingdom of Marliga presents.
Nais ko pong ibahagi sa inyo ang kasaysayan pinamagatang History Re-visited. In that same context, we can conclude that the purported execution of Rizal was an equivalent pantomime, and history would repeat itself 48 years later, with the supported execution at Los Baños, Laguna of General Tomoyuki Yamashita. No Japanese national will ever accept that General Yamashita surrendered to the Americans. A Japanese general of the highest order and with connection to the royal household will never surrender. Such a general is bound by the code of honor of his calling and must commit harakiri, the ritual suicide, signifying failure. Thus, whoever is buried at Muntinlupa, south of Manila, that body is not the body of General Yamashita. We do not speculate on the escape, whereabouts, or post-war activities of General Yamashita, but our hypothesis that he has not the victim of the gallows designed to dispatch him is reinforced by the fact that no Japanese national pays homage at the shrine to General Yamashita, for the very good reason that every Japanese national knows that his surrender was impossible, and that some undefined politically inspired pantomime has played havoc in obscuring the true course of events. There are rumors that during his time at the English universities, that Yamashita became the lover of Lady Elizabeth Bowes Lyons, a beautiful debutante, which liaison continued after her marriage to Albert, the Duke of York. As the fates ordained, Albert, a sickly man who never expected to become king, was thrust into the position as King George VI, when older brother Edward VIII abdicated the throne in order to wed his paramour, the twice divorced Mrs. Wallace Simpson. The remarkable aspect of the affair between Yamashita and Lady Elizabeth Bowes Lyons, if it has substance, is that the present Queen Elizabeth, it could well be a daughter of General Yamashita, and therefore a granddaughter of Jose Antonio Rizal. So let us now summarize what we have constructed from a more pragmatic view of the stated history of the Philippines, at least in terms of reviewing impact on what has been referred to as the hidden wealth of Marcos. Prince Julian MacLeod Taliano, brother of Queen Victoria, is the father of the man later known as Jose Rizal. Jose Rizal is the father of two further important figures in the world history, with those figures being the German Führer Adolf Hitler and the Japanese General Tomoyuki Yamashita. The death of Rizal by firing squad is disclosed as a well-orchestrated pantomime equally as the battle in Manila, and post that pseudo firing squad event Jose Rizal became the Reverend Father Jose Antonio Diaz. As the son of Prince Julian Macleod Taliano Rizal, now as Reverend Father Jose Antonio Diaz, was instructed with the relocation and management of the massive wealth of the Taliano clan, and perhaps the few assets of his British relatives. Thus, the movement of 600,000 metric tons of gold from the Vatican to Manila to facilitate establishment of the first central bank of the Philippines. Recall that the Taliano clan were the principal landowners of the Philippines as evidence by the original land title OCT number T01-4. The Reverend Father Jose Antonio Diaz recognized the brilliance of Ferdinand E. Marcos and appointed him as counsel to all activities of Diaz relative to storage, safekeeping, and employment of the wealth of his father's clan, that of the clan Taliano. It is well known that Hitler had sent his treasure ships of looted gold and valuables to Egypt for safe storage. But when Field Marshal Montgomery defeated Field Marshal Erwin von Rommel in the North African campaign, he had no option other than retiring those ships toward Japan, his last remaining ally. Fate again intervened when the United States drops atomic bombs on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, thus hastening the Japanese surrender and causing Hitler to redirect his treasure ships to the Philippines. With the end of the World War II, a recognition that the Japanese under Prince Chichiro had stored massive looted wealth in the Philippines. Rizal, in his role as Reverend Father Jose Antonio Diaz, had title difficulty to identifying valuable burial sites, as he could elicit information directly from his son, General Tomoyuki Yamashita. Equally, he would have some information from his firstborn son, Adolf Hitler, as to location of the Nazis' load. Hitler did not commit suicide in the Berlin bunker as popularly accepted, but left Temple of Airport in Berlin via A109 Messerschmitt and flown to neutral Spain, where he came under protection of General Franco. Later, he returned to Cebu of the youth and ended his life in the Philippines. Thus, the recovery from several sites, which yielded massive quantities of gold bullion, precious stones, and other valuables. The recovered valuables were, of course, under embargo due to the statute of limitations, but Marcos, with presidential powers and authorities, was able to influence World Bank and significant authorities to aid and abet him in placing those assets so that the inherent value was preserved in favor of those agreed by Marcos and Diaz to be the ultimate beneficiaries. Thus, all of the above sum are little to forfeits to attract greater acceptance as probable. Does it defy acceptance? Then let us examine a few aspects and compare those aspects with the historical record. If there was no subterfuge in the Battle of Manila Bay, then why was the considerable sum of $20 million paid by the victor to the loser of that supposed war? While the Americans took credit in the Treaty of Paris for settling the sum of $20 million in favor of the Spanish, we have demonstrated the annotations of land deeds that the money was actually paid by Philippine landowners. Let us now look to a document of the Philippine courts, where we refer to the Pasay City Decision with Compromise Agreement, dated 4 of February 1972. There is mention at page 20 of the last surviving son of Prince Julian Macleo Taliano in the person of Jose Antonio Diaz. That name Jose Antonio Diaz is again quoted at bottom of page 18. Quote, that the gold bullion land by the royal family to the Republic of the Philippines, consisting of 650,000 metric tons, now through Reverend Father Antonio Diaz, by arrangement of the brilliant lawyer, attorney Ferdinand E. Marcos, in the year 1949. For the establishment of the required gold reserves of the newly installed Central Bank of the Philippines should be maintained in the Central Bank vaults towards maintenance of the country's gold reserves, and the same shall be withdrawable 50 years thereafter with 5 years moratorium. Further on page 21. That the 640,000 metric tons of gold nuggets transported by then surviving son of Prince Macleo Taliano from the Vatican after the World War, in the person of Reverend Father Jose Antonio Diaz, trustee of the royal family and client of the attorney Ferdinand E. Marcos, deserves a just compensation for no less than 30% of the total value of the said 640,000 metric tons in gold. The above LRC civil case 3957-R is finally an executory. The law of the land, and unfortunately under temporary injunction following an urgent for annulment of judgment filed by the former Solicitor General Simpson Marcelo in July 2002, at instruction of President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Case CGRSP number 70014, based on alleged nullity of proceedings. Could it be that the intention of the oligarchs is permanent injunction, that the gold can either be stolen or diverted to a purpose never intended by those who provided the means for the Philippines to establish its own central bank? Certainly, there is no apparent justice for the true owners of the gold. And one might well ask, why does the administration wait 30 years to bring a case for nullity of proceedings, when the matter was received by the courts and made final, an executory on 4 of February 1972. Repeating, why would an administration wait 30 years to challenge a matter which was judicially determined and enforceable at law? Has corruption permanently entered the mainstream of government that they seek to change history to cover both misfeasance and malfeasance during their tenure. Only time will tell, but it is clear that the court has not been expedient in dealing with the case filed in July 2002, and so it could be a strategy to allow the matter to lay undecided for an indefinite period, and perhaps beyond the lifespan of legitimate claimants. The unanswered question is, why? One is reminded of the American humorist Mark Twain, who in 1866 said, "No man's life, liberty, or prosperity is safe while this legislature is in session, or perhaps even of Pericles, who in 430 BC said, just because you do not take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you." So, now that we have a brief journey through historical events which shaped the nation known as the Republic of the Philippines, we can reflect on what we have learned and endeavor to speculate as to what have motivated President E. Marcos and Reverend Father Jose Antonio Diaz to join forces in accumulating and placing massive wealth. The writer believes it is fair to state that President Marcos had a consuming passion to make the Philippines the most stable, progressive state in the Asian community. As a lawyer, senator, and later president, it can be accepted that he was perfectly familiar with the land title claim of the Tanyano clan, and equally well aware of the massive gold deposit made by that clan to establish the first central bank in the Philippines. His initial meeting with Reverend Father Jose Antonio Diaz must have been a revelation, because his legal brain would rapidly recognize that he was in presence of a man who presented wealth, royalty, power, and influence. And just as quickly, he recognized the outgrowth of that relationship in terms of his longer-term vision for the Philippines. It is no secret that President Marcos and Reverend Father Jose Antonio Diaz enjoyed a harmonious relationship lasting many years, and that they actively cooperated in multiple financing adventures designed to achieve each of their individual objectives. Reverend Father Jose Antonio Diaz enjoyed a unique distinction in terms of the purposes of Marcos in pleasing and securing valuable assets, in that he was a persona ecclesias, a person where the assets at the disposal were nominally those of the church, and thus Diaz held patrimony, those assets in his own name, essentially a corporation soul. President E. Marcos obviously designed the legal strategies which encompass and preserve the wealth, while Reverend Father Jose Antonio Diaz provided the wealth and high-level connection necessary to successfully domicile that wealth as instructed by President E. Marcos. In one unique area, Reverend Father Jose Antonio Diaz could identify wealth conceived by the Japanese and German forces, and the legal strategies of President Marcos could provide the domicile and protection for that recovered wealth, and so such recoveries became the centerpiece of their financial engagement.